Hey everyone, this is Marsh from Consequence. Going to go over a KT guide. Just forewarning that this is probably the worst mythic encounter that Blizzard has ever created. And instead of giving you the spiel why I think that, I'm just going to tell you how to kill the boss as fast as possible. You will get frustrated and see why it's a bad boss for yourself. Um, so, just to start with, we'll do the VOD first, and then I'll talk about the ERT and weak auras. Um, So I have two POVs open. Usually I show this first, but this doesn't really matter. Like, you for the downstairs group, you want to take good classes, which are going to be like rogues, arguably druids, especially if they're Night Fae. Fire mages are probably really good down there, and BM hunters are probably good down there. And upstairs, it doesn't really matter. The classes who parse the highest are going to be able to demolish ads that are irrelevant. And, a lot of this fight is everything's irrelevant and just push in this small window and you're fine. Alright, I've got two VODs. This is an outside POV. So I'm going to show the outside POV up until the intermission. Then I'm going to go to the intermission POV. And then I'm going to go to the next POV. So bear with me. Okay, so in short, you can see that there's nothing used on pull. Like, he's armoring, you can use CDs, some CDs on pull. If you're going in the downstairs group, you definitely don't want to use CDs on pull. And these ads spawn and they're marked. Well, they're not marked, but we have markers down to indicate which ad is the interrupts for, which is where you see this. So, like, Star, this guy, these people should get it first. Remember, they can be stunned, so, like, obviously Holy Paladin can't interrupt, but they can stun. And we did that on purpose. We had, like, hard CCs closer to the ads that you're going to stack, and then did normal CDs on the side ones. It doesn't really matter. Some groups just full YOLO this. We just are a little more organized. So the only thing is you don't want like too many of these interrupts to go off. So you kill the ads. And then if you notice, spikes are stacked up here. And this set we absolutely nuke down. So we're nuking these down. And the reason for this is you want your healing cooldowns up for every single spike set. So this phase, or this fight, is all around waiting for CDs. And which is why people complain about it. Because, yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to nuke down the first set of spikes because we want to use our healing CDs sooner rather than later. And then we want to hold later. And you'll see why we do that. So we're going to nuke down the spikes. And they drop the silent circles in the back of the room. He didn't get a good POV of it, but we'll see. So, and you keep them rooted. And I'll tell you guys more about that, as we go on. But these are going to come out. So these ads we've dropped 2 silent circles back here. All right. So you stack them all there, and then you have your balanced roots just mass root it, and then you don't touch them until 2 sets are out for the first phase. So you don't want any CC to break. Then you're going to get this meteor, and then you're going to kill them. And that's what we do. And now we're just waiting around, literally. Like, doing nothing. We're chilling. More soul fractures, so you can see him, like, pre-positioning. Now good, he gets a silence here, so he's just going to run over. He uses Wraith Walk. He stacks them up. And we're still waiting. We're still waiting. We're stop damage. We do a meteor, and after the meteor, we'll kill the ads. We do the meteor. We always mass dispel the second meteor in every phase. Very important. We have range soak first, and then we have range basically soak both sets, and then we just mass dispel the second set because it's more dangerous. And as you see here, we have really just been whittling down the boss for about a minute, and we haven't done anything because what we're doing So you want to wait for the second Ice Shard cast. So you see Ice Shard cast 1, Ice Shard cast 2, and then Soul Fracture. And you want to push during that Soul Fracture cast. And it sucks because we've literally done nothing for a minute. Like, these DPS meters mean nothing. He even calls himself the ad padder because he's just killing all the small ads. Really anyone with AoE can do that. And we wait. Soul Fracture. We're milking the CDs. We want the healing cooldowns to come back up, and that's what we're doing. So anyway, I'm not going to show... Actually, yeah, I'm going to show the outside first, and then I'll go to the inside. So a lot of your prog, in theory, should come here in the outside group. And basically, you need to set up a interrupt order that calls off your ERT note, which should be a week or available to everyone on Wago. And you can see here that we have set up interrupt orders for the group, and these are for the Reavers. Now, when you interrupt them, when you see them cast, you need to instantly kick, because what happens if you kick and they start channeling, this is very important. If you're not paying attention, please pay attention here. If you miss your interrupt and this finishes its channel before you, or this cast before it kicks, it starts channeling, the number is going to go to 2. So even though the first person is still going to kick even the channel, the second person might kick the channel because they see a 2 over the head. So if you're next in the interrupt order, you need to make sure that it's actually kicked properly before your kick. And if you miss the kick, you need to vocalize with your group that you missed the kick and you kicked the channel. Hopefully that made sense to everyone. So it's, again, like, what we did is we assigned Hunter CDs and Warlock CDs here. One of our Hunters is down. And that's just to get the ads low. And then the goal... So they grab the 2-pack of the big guys, and they bring them on top of 2 Reavers. Once the Reaver's at 40%, they bring him to the third one. So you'll see here, they'll bring these guys back over, probably. He doesn't have a weak aura that tells you when people are coming out. Maybe it's not queued yet. But anyway, you're milking this outside phase as long as possible. And then you see here, kill ads. That means that the downstairs people have like a certain amount of seconds to get back out, and you want to kill the ads so that they don't respawn. If you kill them too early, they're going to respawn. And if they respawn, they're not kickable, and they'll just slam your tanks. So we kill everything, and we're good to go. Way harder than it looks, to be fair. Not crazy hard. It's a lot of min-max. Okay, POV number 2. Downstairs group. So we messed up this a lot, I will say. And what you should do is you need to look at your DPS makeup and figure out who's the best at front and back loading cooldowns. So here we send double balance, double rogue, hunter, and the rogues and the hunter have a lot of front loaded damage, so they can do a lot of DPS really quickly. And the balance druids are both Venthyrs, so they're just going to do the majority of the stuff here. So again, the Venthyrs, all these users held their cooldowns in P1. So they're using their cooldowns here. Actually, I might have used 2 minutes on poll, and it should be up. I take that back. And then you see this time left. So ideally, he maybe shouldn't have using Resonant Arrow there, but ideally they're going to milk this as long as possible. So it phases at 60 and they're just chilling, and they see this kill ads, and they want to push this about, 1 to 5 seconds out. I mean, maybe like 2 to 4, just to make it a little easier. So, they're going to push, and they're going to get out at 2 seconds, and then they're good. And then this is why that fight, I was talking about how it sucks, because instead of just going in, blasting, and getting out, you have to coordinate with the up group when to come out, A, and even if that was fine, whatever, but B, it's waiting for cooldowns. We're literally extending the difficulty of that phase just to wait for cooldowns. It's actually absurd. And now you're not only waiting for healing cooldowns, you're waiting for Venthyr booming cooldowns as well. So P2 here is basically the same as P1 just like he adds one of every mechanic. That's the mythic mechanics. The silent circles go to the back. You get the adds. They're going to stack up, and you're going to root them, just like last time. So, again, like look at the health bars. They're not even moving. And we're going to stack the spikes up. And if you get hit by that spike animation, you're 100% dead. Now, these spikes, you don't touch. And they... I'm going to pause. We put a Starfall and a Blizzard down on them, and we want to whittle them down because we want to kill them about right after the 3-minute CDs come up for healers. So we're whittling them down instead of letting them, and also it like kind of works out better with the other mechanics in the fight. So again, those small adds are still rooted. We're going to do Meteor. You know, we're doing range. Are going to stack in for every Meteor. The melee are out there slamming. We're getting interrupts. And we're really waiting for this. Okay, so there's a few things you can do here. Your positioning can be up here, or it can be here. Actually, not here. We just chose in the middle, but you can actually put it here if you want. These are about to go off due to this weak aura, as you see. And we want to basically throw our healing cooldowns down and have range kill these, which is what we do. So we're just chilling, killing them, whatever. Now, what a lot of melee do and they'll die, it didn't really happen because I knew about it, is they will run out of the healing cooldowns before this dot goes away. So make sure your dot's away before you run out. Obviously, you can run out with like a second or two left on the dot. But if you run out too soon, you'll just die. Again, silent circles to the back. They're going to get rooted. Tank adds are up. Range are going to stack in. These are going to get rooted. Oh, I lied. We just kill those. Sorry, my bad. You'll kill the second set in P2 because there's nothing happening, right? It's been a while since I've done this fight. And again, we're going to wait for this to end. One thing to note is you want to push them under 10% before Blizzard start, or before Blizzard finishes. I think it's before it finishes. If you don't push them under 10% before Blizzard finishes, it messes up the spell queuing. So now we're just waiting. Ice Shard. Ice Shard. And then Soul Fracture push. Every time. Alright, now again, we don't really have to talk about the upstairs phase that much because we talked about how you bring the two big adds over to the two Reaver pack. You get the Reaver, you cleave the Reavers down to about 40%, and you bring the two adds over the third Reaver, and you cleave it down 40%. You get them all about 15% health evenly, and like when I'm talking evenly, I literally mean I'm like I'm a hunter. I'm like spamming like arcane shot and like steady shot on like high ones because I know like other people are probably doing the same thing. So it's like absolutely useless. And here it's just a dodge fest. Now there are ways you can kind of do things in here that make it easier. Like you can stack and then move as a group. I think we decided to do two groups. So we had like a melee and a range group. So make sure that the people down here are coordinating what works for them. So here they're bringing it down. I think it's 20%, and they have 20 seconds, so they're fine. And then again, we waited for the Venthyr cooldowns, so the Venthyr boomkins are blasting, and then these front-loaded users will pop everything and get out. So they are a little behind here. No, they're fine. I'm lying. Oh, they got out with less than a second, so they were a little behind. So, again, this is like kind of where we were really inconsistent on the fight. Like, ideally, you just want to get it down to like 1% over the pushed percent and then use like all your front-loaded stuff really quickly. Or like even 2% and use your front-loaded stuff. Anyway, we get out. And I'm going to go to the other POV. Like, that phase just gets a little more and more crazy. There's like wins and pushback and things like that. They just have to learn. Again, 2-pack. This Reaver's getting annihilated. Holy crap. And they're going to move. And then I'm like out here spamming like single target abilities on that one. And then we're just waiting for the kill ads. Weak aura. See, we're just whittling them down. Kill ads. Okay, we're killing. Good. And then they should come out. And there we go. Now we've caught up with the other side of the VOD. So this phase isn't that bad. Again, you just have one of every mechanic. Silent circles are going to go out. They're going to stack. And these will be rooted. Spikes are going to stack up. And one thing to note is you kind of want to be near this stack point. You can get like silent circles and then like not assume you're going to get spike and deal with it. These are not touched at all. So we don't touch these. They tick down normally. We 0 DPS. No starfalls. No blizzards. Nothing at all. And we're just chilling. We're going to do tank ads again. Remember, these are stacked and rooted. You know, they're going to start getting unrooted here, but we're still waiting. So we're going to re-CC them. And then again, we're doing the same thing. We're stacking for healing cooldowns, and range are just killing these. So we rooted 2 sets, and then we're doing them. We pop every healing cooldown. Oh, one thing to note, because it's 3 minutes between spikes, when I said pop every healing cooldown, I mean pop every healer cooldown plus defensive. So like hunters can turtle. I mean, if a hunter's going downstairs, you might not want to, but a hunter can turtle everyone. You know, a shadow priest can disperse everyone. Yeah, warlock can you know, use his cooldowns for everyone. You want to do that to help the healers. I mean, I'm assuming they didn't pop CDs. I could be wrong. Maybe a cooldown was missed, but that's just a guess. Anyway, you stack silent circles again. You kill ads. Now, there is like a mini DPS check here for Prague sometimes where like this Howling Blizzard's going to start and you want to push them under 10% before it ends. And as you can see here, like in other phases, we are already under 10%, but now we're pushing him under 10% and we're trying to do it quickly while like killing these ads. So we have, you know, range and like, the super heavy cleave classes kill them, and then the rest of us push it under 10%. With more gear, it'll become more basic, but you kind of have to split it up. And then we're going to wait for that Ice Shard, Soul Fracture. So Ice Shard, Soul Fracture. We instantly, whatever. So after the second Ice Shard, it doesn't really matter. And, you know, we do this again. And we'll talk about this phase one more time because it doesn't change. The Venthyr, the 3 minutes, aka the Venthyr cooldowns, have them downstairs. Everyone's holding their cooldowns. No one's using. You don't need them in the other phase per se. One thing I do here, I don't have a POV of myself as the other hunter, as I hold Wild Spirits for the end of this phase to make sure we execute everything. Because sometimes we were killing these stuff too slow, and it was one-shotting the tanks. Because if they come out and the big guys are still alive, they'll like hit your tank for like their full HP bar. So we kill ads, and you'll see my Wild Spirits go down instantly just to execute the ads. I should have been maybe doing that for every single phase because our damage was crazy. But I did it for the last one, and they're going to pull the boss into the Wild Spirits. I mean, it's hitting from here because of the hitbox. And then you get here, you lust, you nuke. And, you know, the fight's basically over at this point. Meteor, range, get in. You can mass dispel it. And do interrupts. Now ads are going to spawn. And you want to just interrupt the Banshee's cast because that puts like a giant ramping dot on people. Every other meteor from here you sack. Like, we just did it, but ideally you just sack it. Like, this is the first time we got here alive. Again, just keep interrupting the Banshees and just nuking the boss, basically, is what's happening. And that's the fight. I mean, an absolute joke. You could soak both meteors if you want. I guess it doesn't matter. Again, I'm going to go back and talk about the interrupts one more time because it's that important. It calls off of this weak aura. And, you know, that calls to the ERT note, which is here. If you miss your interrupt and it starts channeling, it will flip the number to the next number, which will confuse the person in front of you. So the person who's next to interrupt and the person who's interrupting need to communicate with each other if that's missed. And if you hear a lot of comms, they're like, oh, I hit my interrupt, but it, like, you missed yours. And they're like, no, I hit an interrupt. And it's because that they both kick the same channel because the weak core is tricking you. So be careful with that. Other than that, make sure that your cooldowns are assigned properly. Like, as a raid lead, you can assign your DPS cooldowns appropriately. Like, you know, I can Wild Spirits at the end of every single ad phase. You know, if you're going downstairs, you should have your CDs. Where do you put them? Okay, you have 2 Vent through Boomkins. Use them at the beginning and then use your Hunter and Rogue CDs near the end. Or, you know, you can kind of work that out. Maybe you need 1 CD at the end. Like, let's say, like, Hunter has, like, the biggest oomph. So you can go put a Hunter down there and he can just, like, true shot slam the last 2%. Remember, the third phase, if you want to call it, does have a DPS check because you need to get the boss under 10% health before he finishes Blizzard. You know, hit interrupts, and basically that's the fight. I can't really think of anything else to even talk about. It's all about waiting around and pushing at certain times, wait for healing cooldowns. I can pull up the healing chart. That will probably be helpful to people. Let me do that. It will take me 2 seconds. Excuse my dog. He's being ridiculous. So, you know, as you see, every healing cooldown is spikes, spikes, spikes. And then, yeah, we have some stuff near the end, but, like, does it actually matter? Probably not. So, you know, this is what we did healing cooldown-wise, and, you know, that's the fight. So if you have any questions, you can always let me know and DM me, comment on the video, whatever, and good luck. Peace out.